This is Jay.
Hi, I'm Rika.
Hi, I am Aalok.
I'm Jay.
I'm Rika, and today we're gonna talk about fashion.
Yeah.
What's that? No, anyways, we'll answer that question later. But what is your favorite thing to wear? Talking about fashion.
Mine is super basic. It's just jeans and t-shirt or shirt.
Okay.
I like casual stuff. I mean, I like dressing up sometimes, but only if it's sometimes. I cannot wear a suit every day.
No.
I don't know. I like turtlenecks, cause like turtleneck shirt or like turtleneck jumper or like anything turtleneck, it just makes you, I don't know, like kind of serious, kind of like I don't know, Steve Jobs.
How nerd of you, Jay.
Nice.
That like you can dress up or like dress down in a turtleneck, right? It's kind of I
I
like
don't-
clothes that are like a functional,
I think it's
but
like
also
I think it's very casual. It can be very casual, but it still has something very serious about it. So yeah, it has an attitude to
It
it.
has
yeah,
a,
like you have the kind of authority, but at the same time, like you chill. Like depending on the fabric as well, I guess. I guess
Yeah.
Rika, you have to say on this because you
Because I'm the
You-
designer.
you
I'm the designer in
fashionista.
training. No, I wouldn't say I'm a fashionista. I'm a fashion designer in training. But if I would answer this question, what is the favorite thing I wear? So I have this overall, and I really love to wear that. But it looks like a pajama. But it's super comfortable. It has two big pockets, and it's very wide on the trouser part, like on the legs, but I can still wear like a tight top with it, and I think it looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely more casual, and it doesn't go with everything, but I really love to wear that.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel, going back to your point, Jay, the turtlenecks are cool because they do assert authority. Like in Silicon Valley, it's now considered sort of this standard CEO / co-founder look that
Oh,
everyone
really?
has. Yeah. But it's not as.
Does that mean that you have to wear a turtleneck to a pitching event every time just to convince your
Probably
your VCs,
that will up your
your
chances. That will make them serious about your programming skills, I guess. But look at me in my turtleneck. I know how to write the code. But what I'm trying to get at is that turtlenecks do assert authority, but not to the point where like a three-piece suit does. So it's not as aggressive as three-piece suit, which is what the consultants and bankers wear, and that seems very sort of like cold and capitalist and like let's talk about money kind of attitude.
Mhm.
Whereas with the turtlenecks, again depending on color and fabric, it does assert authority, but it's not really in a very aggressive manner. I feel it's more mellow, but it's still kind of makes you stand out in a way that okay, this guy is commanding authority without like snatching it away from us.
Yeah.
Also, from a functional perspective, a turtleneck hides the neck, so that's practical in some senses. It's also very comfortable because it warms you. You don't have to necessarily wear a scarf, so it has all these functions, and especially winter, it's very nice to wear. But okay, the next question I would like to ask is, what's your style?
My style. Uh, I don't know. See, as I said, I define my style in terms of comfort. So whatever feels comfortable to me, I wear it. But I think after coming to the US, I have become, and especially after living in New York City and seeing how crazy people can go with fashion, I've become more open to the designer print shirts. And that's because they would have like different colors and textures, and the dual tone shirts where like it's one color, but then when the light shines on it, has like the tinge of another color as well.
Mm.
And those are really comfortable, but they also make you stylish for like an evening look or a party look or something like that. And
Two tones, I think.
yeah, dual tone, two tone, those kind
dual.
of shirts. I've begun to embrace them now. So I feel like my style right now, if you look at my wardrobe, it would be
I'd say that could be something that comes from your like origin, like two dual tone colored shirts, or like two tones are like something very Indian, because when I went to India I bought some two tone fabrics and I really like those as well, but it's not something I find here an awful lot.
yeah, that's true. I think because all the two-tone shirts that I've purchased have been in India, not here. So yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, I guess the fashion maybe in India is now moving towards the point where people want that kind of party or that kind of trendy look. And I like how that fabric feels on my body. So I guess that's my style right now, two-tone shirts.
Cool. Yeah, I've seen you in those. I like those too. Nice. Good choice.
I like 80% of the time I feel like I'm pretty minimalistic. So if I have to define myself with like a brand, I'll say like Muji or Uniqlo.
Muji
Like-
or Uniqlo?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
good choice.
Japanese, like Scandinavian, very minimalistic, like a white shirt or t-shirt, and just a pair of jeans, and like I've got this like pair of white Vans that I've been wearing like for forever basically, but they're so comfortable and like I can wear them to like any sort of like informal events. So I wear this like most of the time, and then sometimes when I go out like to like a gig, like a music venue in like Bushwick or like Brooklyn, like somewhere in Brooklyn, like Avant Garden, or like what's it called? Yeah, like some places in
Yes.
huh?
House of Yes.
House of yes. I would wear something that's kind of like I mean I don't like use the word hipster, but just hipster like high like pair of high socks, like I would still use my white Vans. They're still like applicable to all kinds of situations. Maybe like a crop top, just anything that you will probably see on someone wearing, like walking in like East Brooklyn, Bushwick kind of. Yeah. And then like sometimes like the rest of the time, which is maybe 10%, I would like my style I'd say is quite like French. I don't even know what that means, like but yeah,
Pastel colors, is it?
French kind of like like girly French kind of design. If you know this brand like Reformation, it's kind of French. And I do like online shop from some French designers that they will like ship from like Paris directly. But that's like I wear these very rarely because since I moved to New York as Aalok, like my style, I have kind of simplified my style and like my clothing. I don't spend any time like deciding on what I wear, like unless it's like I'm meeting someone important. Otherwise it's just all casual.
So, okay, and for me, like as a fashion designer, I started wearing the slobbiest clothes I possibly could. Like when I was in my previous university, I would be like called the prep school girl because I was wearing like really proper outfits, and I don't really know what prep school girl entails. I don't know, but like that's how some of my friends called me.
Prep school.
Prep school girl. So like quite proper, like organized outfits. And now I'm like, when I started going to Parsons, even before I actually planned this because I was like, yeah, if I'm a fashion design student now, people are gonna judge me for what I wear, and it happens. Like when I tell someone I'm a fashion design student, they just firstly what they do, they check up and down, they look at me and they look at what I'm wearing basically, and so for that reason, I decided not to go with anything crazy, but I wear like really simple and very like very relaxed outfits,
Yeah.
because I don't really want to define myself as, I don't know, I'm a bit shy to show character maybe in that way. But also it's like I want to be famous for my work. I don't want to be famous for my looks. I don't want to be a
Right.
model, like that's not my job. So yeah. And actually I realized after fashion shows and runways, most designers who come out, they actually look like similar, like they wear jeans and t-shirts. So
Yeah.
there are designers who might be different, who choose to like have a very public life and like who are defined by how they dress, but that's really not really me. I want my work to stand out, not who I am as a person necessarily, even though you can't always distinguish that.
Right. There was a point in my life where I was so much into fashion and was so particular about how I look and how I dress, was that if I see something in a movie worn by some actor, I would seek out that combination. Okay, so I'll buy, like, someone wore a printed t-shirt, okay, and it looked cool. So I would buy a printed t-shirt, not necessarily the same one, but I would buy a printed t-shirt and then I would go across the whole market with that t-shirt into different jeans shops and matching it and only buying it when it matches and like, okay, this is the pair. So I would really invest time in, like, okay, so this is the jeans, this is the t-shirt, what should be the shoes, what should be the belt, what should be the accessories.
Wow,
And
that's
so I
wow.
had defined, like, properly laid out 10 looks like that, okay, when I was in India. But I guess, like, once life got busier and more responsibilities started coming around, I felt that, okay, the lesser time you have to invest in thinking about your clothing, it frees up more mental space to do other stuff. So now it's just like 2 or 3 generic profiles that I have. So
Yeah.
this is my corporate look, this is my daily wear look, and this is my party look, and that's it. Now I don't go for specific combinations.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
But yeah, there was a point in time when I would, like, drive my parents nuts because they would be like, you spend an entire month trying to buy 10 pairs of clothes, okay, and now you're already feeling that you need to buy 5 more. Like, it was not more of like a financial stress kind of thing, because generally fabrics and clothes are cheaper in India, but they were like just the kind of effort that you're putting into creating these combinations.
Yeah,
It's
that's
Yeah,
very
you,
ridiculous.
interesting.
Yeah.
whereas you can put your creativity elsewhere.
Yeah,
into,
but
like,
I
your
was
work.
when I was in India, I didn't have to worry about things that I have to worry about now. Like,
This is
my
like-
parents were there to take care of a lot of things. And my sister is into fashion, so she would, like, encourage me, like, this is the look you should go for, or like, this is something that I saw, you should try that. And so she would help me with those things. But yeah, I think my sister was my companion in my shopping every time I went shopping in India.
Yeah, like I was even thinking to just wear the same thing every day, as in I buy 10 blouses of the exactly same
Yeah.
model, maybe 5 jeans, whatever.
You know what? We could do this experiment where we just, like, we have the same look, like, every day. We just, like,
You just
like, the
change
10 same,
accessories.
like, set of, like, t-shirt. And like, I know people who have done that.
Yeah,
like,
there are a lot of people who do
yeah,
this, I think.
like a 30-day challenge where they only wear, like, the same outfit. Not like
Mhm.
the same, like exact same, but they have like 10 t-shirts that look exactly same,
Yeah.
or like different colors.
But that would mean you need to buy 10 new t-shirts, and that's what I didn't want. Like, I didn't want to, because I was kind of like on this trip where I don't buy new clothing, because the clothing industry, like, that's why I went into fashion, because it's so unsustainable and because there's a lot of overconsumption happening, but the quality of the garments we buy is so low that we have to throw them away, which maybe also is a reason for the overconsumption.
Right.
So I didn't want to buy like 10 new t-shirts and 5 trousers or like something like that, because that would kind of like stimulate supply due to higher demand of something. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. What's the next question?
Okay, what do you guys think about, what's your favorite color?
Oh, I hate that question.
Why?
Because I mean, like, for me it changes. I would say there's no like absolute favorite, but I'm genuinely inclined to wear clothes that's of like color that's of like low saturation, kind of.
Like
The one that you're
pastel.
wearing right now?
Yeah, so it's
Even
not
your
like
jeans are
bright.
With a lot of
saturated.
white in it.
Yeah, not like too bright.
It has a lot of white in it, right? That's called pastel. So there are different. It's a whole color palette. So it could be an orange. It could be in like reddish.
Mm-hmm.
It could be like blue, and that's all
so
pastel.
this would be
That's
very.
I would say
That's
that's
very
mint.
pastel.
That's mint pastel. Yeah.
Mm.
What you're wearing, your T-shirt is pastel.
Yeah,
And I know
this is
becau-
quite bright actually.
And the
This
thing
like, I
is
like this.
that in filmmaking, there's a pastel look that you can create, which means that you give directions to your art director, and he will paint the house or locations in a way that it looks pastel. And
Oh,
pastel,
really?
yeah. So if you look in European films, they would have a lot more pastel colors than typical Hollywood productions,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the aesthetic that they follow.
In the
Yeah.
in the Mediterranean, I guess. The
Yeah,
house.
I
No,
mean,
Mediterranean. I would say they're more. They have a brighter look.
so
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
Or like
So, like, you know,
Nordic look.
not Germany, but like, yeah, if you go, towards, let's
like
say,
Norway,
Denmark, Norway,
yeah.
Iceland, that's all pastel. So you'll just see like one color, but it's like in this kind of texture where it's, you can very clearly say that, okay, this is a pastel look. Even certain, I think, even in German cinema, I guess, like, in early days, I'm not sure. Early days, no, German cinema, early days was very different. It was German Impressionism. But yeah, I think still, mostly it's the Europe that has that kind of look to it. But my favorite color is red, because I feel that red is symbolic of power and of passion. So I feel that, it can be a color of love, and it could be a color of like wealth, and it can be color of dominance, and it's the color of blood. So
and
it's
it
kind
is
of,
in many cultures a sign of wealth. I think in China
in
it has
China,
a
yes,
meaning, right?
yeah.
yeah. And red is something that, again, I think I feel naturally attracted to, because my personality is, I guess, that way, that I like to dominate things, and not in a very aggressive or harmful way, but I like to figure out how things are, how things happen, and then I try to be the best at it. And so I think red in a lot of ways signifies that, and so I feel that,
Like
okay,
some sort of like power.
yeah, I mean, as an entrepreneur, you want to kind of like, lead people towards something.
And
And
take ownership.
yeah, and so even in India, if you would look at the flags of the early rulers before British came and all of those things, those were mostly red, because that was the color of war, and like, leading people towards a certain kind of goal. And I resonate with that, because my caste, although I don't believe in casteism, but if you were to think about it, my caste is Rajput. Rajput means the descendants of kings. And so we are sort of,
You guys have like a four castes, right?
yeah. So caste is like,
Like
the ancient Indian system of classifying
Yes,
people
yes.
in different groups.
I don't necessarily agree with that system.
I
though,
don't agree
no.
either, but I'm saying that because that's sort of the lineage that I come from. It's
Mhm.
kind of part of our culture and our personality. So what I'm trying to say is that for me, it was natural to kind of gravitate towards
Right.
that color. So red remains my favorite color.
Mm.
But yeah, I think about certain things, it keeps on changing from time to time.
Yeah, I guess on that point, I'm more like I'm leaning towards colors that are more like people associate with peace. Like green, light green, olive green, like
White.
light gray, white.
Mine are also greens. Like I like greens a lot because it's the color of nature, and I like natural habitats and like forests and fields and like moss greens and olive greens especially, and also the like spring grass, because where I grew up there's a lot of grass and there are a lot of trees, so in spring they have a very light green color.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question.
What do you do with clothing when you don't want to wear them anymore? Like, what do your clothes do when they die?
I think like I recently did like a thorough cleanse out of like I reorganized my wardrobe, and I have like maybe a third of the clothes I wanted to give away. In the UK there's a place called Oxfam. It's a shop. That
I was
you can-
volunteering there when I was in the UK. When I
Yeah,
was
me too.
studying
Actually,
there.
I was
Really?
willing. Yeah, but it's a place if you want to donate your clothes, your like unwanted books, CDs, any personal items, you can give away, which I find very nice. But in the US, I haven't come across a place like this, but I did a Google search. There's a place called Goodwill Clothes Nation. So for the clothes that I don't want, I just give away to them.
Mm. Yeah, I always used to do that as well.
But I guess probably another good way to give away your unwanted clothes is to give to like fashion designers, like
So for me, ever since I moved out and began living on my own, I only buy clothes in bulk that usually last me for like more than a year. So during Diwali, which is like Christmas but for Indian people, uh, it's a heavy shopping season. So people usually buy lots of clothes, and now I don't go by that cycle. But every time I'm out shopping, I'll probably buy 7 or 8 pairs that will last me for a year. And as I keep buying more and more clothes, the old ones, either I've used them to the point that they just like rip apart, or there's a progression where it becomes like, if I have a t-shirt that I wear only at special occasions, then I start wearing it daily, and then it becomes like, a cloth that I use to clean my laptop and like other stuff. Then it becomes like a mop, and then finally when it's unusable, when I throw it away in trash. So it's that, yeah. I anyway don't buy too many clothes. So whatever I have, I use them to the point that I not only use it for its core purpose, which is to be on my body, but it's useful after a point where if it's not good enough to be used as t-shirt, you use it to like clean
yeah.
the kitchen tops and like your stove and stuff like that.
Yeah, so
That's a very Indian thing, by the way. So
it's a good idea. It contributes to sustainability.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but in a very indirect way. And in India, so my dad told me this story that because he has a lot of cousins, so my dad's elder brother would wear a T-shirt, and then like in 6 months that would become my dad's T-shirt, and then in 6 months later it would become his younger cousin's T-shirt, until the point that it's not wearable anymore. So uh, one T-shirt would be in the family for like 4 years,
Mhm.
and every cousin at some point has worn it
Mm.
as like, this is my new T-shirt kind of thing. So when I was growing up, when I was teenager, or in the early years of my life, my parents would always insist me to give away the clothes that don't fit me or that I don't wear anymore to my younger cousins.
Mhm.
And for them, because it's in good condition, they feel like, oh, this is like a new pair of clothing that I have. And so, yeah, that's like the Indian family system of sustaining clothes.
that was the same for us in Germany. Like I would wear my older cousins' clothing as well, and my even sometimes my parents' clothing.
Mm.
So
My sister does that right now. So the sari that my mom used to wear, my sister wears them now.
cool. Yeah, that's really nice. That's quite a good thing. So personally, I always used to think giving things away to charity shops is a good idea, but recent research and like traveling to India a couple of times has like kind of like shown me that it's not the best idea, because you see a lot of people. So basically, I realized when I was traveling in India that a lot of people were not wearing saris or kurtas, which is another Indian shirt, long shirt, but they wear t-shirts which have like slogans like New York on them or Detroit, anything anglicized and English. And
Yeah.
a lot of brands which you see running around in these kind of like with these kind of like slogans definitely are not originated in India. So these things aren't made there. And the reason for that is that a lot of clothes in the US and in the UK and in other European countries is donated to charity. And we have all these like containers in Europe you can just throw all your clothing in, and they apparently like supposedly go to help people in need. But actually what happens a lot is that these clothes are resold in developing economies, and for that reason like the textile industry has a very hard time to develop there. And the problem I see with that is that the textile industry is actually an industry which with little means can be established, but only as long as price competitive. So if things are being dumped in other countries, dumping is a term from economics, and it means like selling things below price level, basically.
Yeah.
So it happens with many other things as well, like butter,
Electronics.
electronics, anything really. And yeah, so that's a really harmful. I was just talking to a friend from Iraq yesterday, and he was telling me that there's this joke, like if somebody wears like some really like interesting clothing, let's put it that way, then the first question that comes up is usually like as a mocking way is this from the, where did you get this? Is this from the Lunga market or something like that? Lunga is like a term for like big clothing bags which come from the West with old clothes in them.
There is a
And-
word in Hindi called lungi.
Lungi?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It's like this long it's this long piece of cloth that guys wrap around their waist. Usually,
It's like a rectangular clothing piece.
yeah, it's like a rectangular clothing piece that they wrap around their body, but usually when they're going to sleep, so it's like a night suit kind of thing.
Mm, that's something else. So lungi or luanga or whatever that was called is like it's a bag. It's a type of bag with old clothes in them. And there's the market where these clothing are sold is now also called Longa Market in Iraq. And it's like, I mean, nice, but the actual reason for this, I feel, is because for companies like Goodwill, it's very expensive to send the clothes to actually recycle them or upcycle them. Firstly, a lot of clothes can't be upcycled because it's made of blends. So that means that you can't separate the plastics of the different like fibers. And there was another point, like it can't be recycled, and it's also very expensive for Goodwill to give it to the landfill, to give it to throw it away because they pay a lot of money for landfill.
I guess that's the whole point of like vintage shops, right? People do secondhand. But by the way, what do you guys think of secondhand vintage clothing?
I like that a lot because you can get things you can't get anywhere else. Like you can get really like exciting pieces. You can, you can really get individualized stuff for much less money than you would pay anywhere else. And
Mhm.
usually you can't even find it anywhere else. So it's a really exciting thing to go vintage shopping, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe because again, while growing up, I wore a lot of shoes that my dad used to wear, or a lot of fashion that he had back in the day, and now it's hard to see that around. But back in the day, it was really cool.
Yeah.
Certain kind of jeans that he wore, now they fit me, but they don't fit him. So yeah, I really enjoy that because it allows you to go back in time and experience the fashion that was
Yeah.
prevalent back then, but still kind of show it to the friends who have the fashion sense that conforms to the modern standards. So it's a good contrast in that
Mhm.
sense. And yeah, in terms of sustainability, is good. But I feel there are a lot of companies that now buy second-hand markets and put them on online marketplace, and they have created this whole secondary market out of it. And that is good because that reduces the burden on production, and the same, like this whole idea of sharing economy can continue to grow.
Yeah.
And so I think, yeah, I like to see vintage fashion. And India has this rich history of, like, each region has its own clothing. So this is the thing about India. Each state has a different language, has a different culture, has different festivals, has a different lifestyle, has different facial features. So it's like crazy amounts of diversity. Now you put that diversity across, let's say, 20 to 25 period of, like a period of 20 to 25 years, you have the variation that you wouldn't see generally in, like, emerging from one country. And Indians love colors, so you see a lot of, the color palette is very diverse in that sense also.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to experience that.
Yeah, and I'm actually like now I think about it, I don't see many like secondhand or like vintage shops in China. Like there are some like vintage shops in maybe in Shanghai because it's the city of the fashion in Shanghai, in China. But I think really China should start thinking about this like shared economy, as Alok mentioned, especially on like the clothing produce side.
Because they produce in such large numbers and they have to adapt to like constantly differing changes, because it's a manufacturing hub for the world, so as they pay you to change the design, they have to, so the stock that is now left unsold and obsolete, it has to go somewhere. Now if you recycle it within your country, it's expensive and you have to pay for the whole processing. So
Plus
they
side
find
effects.
they find it's easier to just dump it in a country where that trend has not catched on yet, and you can do it for much cheaper price that is higher than your production cost. Okay. And so for that, because it's the quantity, and India is a huge consumer of electronics, a lot of that stuff ends up there from China. But I'm not saying China is doing bad or anything. It's just that
it is a bad.
someone, I mean, India is notorious for dumping its stuff somewhere also.
It's actually this charities. Let's bringing it back to fashion, like the charity shop stuff. So it's not necessarily that the charity shop is going itself and dumping it there. They resell a lot of clothes in bulk. So there's this so-called goodwill auction or something like that, and there they sell like bins, like rubbish bins or something like that, full of clothes, and you don't know what's inside, but you pay like $35 per basket or per bin, and I think that's what's taken. You don't know what's in it. You don't know what's in it, but it might be really qualitative stuff or really good stuff which you can sell for more than $35. And I think that's the stuff which goes back into developing countries.
Yeah.
So I don't know who's
Yeah.
buying that, because the person who's buying this stuff and sends it actually back to Africa or sends it to Haiti or wherever must have the capability to send it there. So it must be some entrepreneurial person. But probably many of them. I don't really know.
Okay, so on that note, I would like to say thank you to everyone who heard this episode. I hope you guys had fun. And if you have any suggestions for what other topics we should cover on this podcast, then please send us your recommendations. Our social media links will be mentioned in the description, so feel free to follow us. That's all for this week. We'll see you next time. My name is Aalok.
Jay.
Rika.